All right, folks, the Rwanda Genocide. Now, the Rwanda Genocide, background you need to understand is with the Rwanda Genocide, is it's going to be done between two different ethnic groups. Okay, we have the Tutsi and the Hutu. Now, the Hutu are the group that grow the crop, and we have the Tutsis, which is a group, the tribe, that's going to raise cattle. We also have the Twa, they're not really going to be as involved in this one. They're a smaller group. The two main groups, the ones that are really going to play into the Rwanda Genocide are the Hutu and the Tutsis. Now, it's important to understand there is no distinct ethnic difference between the Hutu and the Tutsi. Most likely is what happened is over time they just started having different jobs. Okay, some families started raising cattle, some families started growing crops. So as a result of that, they're going to kind of start to associate, and that is what's going to cause the Hutu tribe and the Tutsi tribe. But other than that, there is no real ethnic difference. Okay, they are Rwandan, and that is simply the way it is. Now, the Tutsi are more wealthy, but they do have a smaller population. Okay, raising cattle can get you more money than it can if you're farming. So the Tutsi are going to be more wealthy. However, there are not as many Tutsi as there are Hutu, simply most likely because you're going to need more farmers than you are cattle raisers in a country. So historically, though, the Tutsi are the ones that are going to be controlling the government. They have more money, therefore it's easier to control the government, and that's probably why they're going to be historically controlling the government. Now, imperialism is going to make things worse. We already talked about imperialism a couple units back, but Germany and Belgium are going to be the two countries that are really going to be controlling Rwanda at different time periods. And both these countries are going to exploit the differences between the Hutus and the Tutsis, and they're going to use that for their own political power. However, they're going to keep the Tutsi in power because the Tutsi have already been in power. They're the ones who've been in control. They've been doing an okay job keeping stability in the region. So the Germans and the Belgians are going to keep the Tutsi in power. Now, the Hutu, however, are in control of the Catholic Church. Okay, a number of predominantly high-ranking positions within the Catholic Church in Rwanda were controlled by the Hutu. Vast majority of Rwandans are Catholic, so you're going to be listening inherently to what is being stated at church, okay, within your religion. So the Hutu control the Catholic Church in the region. Now, there's a number of these Hutu who are going to be Hutu clergy who are calling for emancipation. So become our own country, break ourselves free of this bondage from the Tutsis. We need to do this on our own. And this is going to lead to the revolution in Rwanda in 1959. Now, during this revolution, the Hutus are actually going to gain power, taking control over the government from the Tutsis. And a number of Hutus are going to start to respond by killing the Tutsis. Okay, they do not feel the Tutsis have the right to really be in power. They feel this is wrong, and thus they're going to be killing the smaller, yet more powerful ethnic group that previously had ruled the country. This is going to be the Rwandan Civil War. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the Rwandan Civil War going on later. Now, this civil war is going to be happening in the 1990s, and this is going to lead us to the Rwanda Patriotic Front, okay, the RPF, as they're going to be called when we talk about this. Now, the RPF is going to be from the Tutsis that were kicked out of the country, going to different countries, and they're slowly going to start making their way back into Rwanda to try to gain control of the country. Once again, they're going to invade from North Rwanda and move down south, and when they invade, this is what's going to start the war. Now, Hutu extremists are going to go, and they're going to start spreading propaganda against the Tutsis. Okay, they do not like the Tutsis, so they're going to be going and spreading propaganda. Now, propaganda, remember, is information of a biased or misleading nature done to try to get people to agree with a certain political opinion. So the political opinion is the Tutsis are bad. We've got to get rid of the Tutsis. We don't want them in the country. Now, the end of the civil war is going to establish a balance of power within Rwanda between the Hutu and the Tutsi. However, many Hutu are angered by this treaty. They do not like it. They've controlled the government since 1959. They've been in power. Historically, the Tutsi have been in power and oftentimes oppressing the Hutu. So a number of these Hutu are angry by this treaty, and they do not feel that it is just. They do not feel that it is right, and they would like a bigger say in the government. So they're going to form a group called the Interahamwe. Now, the Interahamwe, you can see a picture of them right here. This picture really does a good job of depicting this group of people, okay? Kind of gangster-like humans right there, who are willing to use violence and intimidation to get what they want. Then, in April of 1994, the president's plane is shot down over the country. Now, this is very problematic, okay? Even to this day, no one exactly knows who shot down this plane, but this is going to be the spark of the powder keg that's going to launch a full-scale genocide. Okay, the very next morning, the prime minister of the country is going to be killed. Okay, so the Tutsi prime minister is going to be killed, and the Hutu extremists are going to take over as interim leaders of the country. Okay, they're going to basically saying that the president's dead, the prime minister is dead, I'm in charge now on an interim basis. You're going to listen to me, do what I say, or bad things are going to happen. Right away, they're going to set up roadblocks and begin to kill Tutsis. Okay, the Hutu goal during this was to kill the Tutsis, to get rid of the Tutsis. Okay, you can see this picture right here. This was a church, and the story behind this church is the Hutu rounded up a number of Tutsi men, women, children into this church, locked the doors, and then started firing in from the roof, killing everyone inside. So if you can see those holes in the roof of the ceiling of this church, that is bullet holes that were shot down by Hutu militias, killing the Tutsi inside. All their clothes stacked up right here. Now, the UN is going to be forces have already withdrawn from the country at this point, okay? A lot of the world is looking on and seeing what's happening, but the vast majority of people in the world are not doing a thing, okay? No one is getting involved, and there's a number of reasons which we'll talk about a little bit in class, but the UN forces have withdrawn and really have no ability to stop this from happening. End of the day, there's going to be 800,000 Tutsi killed in about 6 weeks, okay? So that's nearly 1 million people killed in 6 weeks by machete attacks. The goal is simply to kill them. They're not using guns for the most part. They're chopping them to pieces with machete. There's one story, and this is a little bit graphic, but there's a story of a man, a Tutsi man who had went and gotten education, and the man came and killed him. And when he was being questioned about the killing later, he said he killed him. He chopped open his head because he wanted to see what the brain of an educated man looked like. And that's really going to show exactly how horrendous and tragic this whole event is. Questions, comments, put them down below. Otherwise, I will see you later, and good luck.